The following podcast contains strong language like what the actual fuck.
Scarecrow Festival is like the most important day of the year. What? Daft Cow?
This is just ridiculous. What the actual fuck?
Hey, what the actual fuckers, and welcome to WTAF, a This Country podcast. Now, first, he's the man that likes cats, he likes hats, and he likes cats in hats. It's Neil.
That's very true. What a book. I've read it more than once.
Dr. Seuss, isn't it?
It is.
Not such a good film, though, I can remember.
Oh,
Mike
no,
Myers.
Mike Myers, wasn't it? Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll forget the film. Move on to the book. And we're still waiting for that sequel. A cat in an even bigger hat.
Indeed. Well done, Neil. Well done. Now, our superfan guest this episode is a TV and radio presenter, a TV beauty expert. So, Neil will be wanting to pick up some tips, and a writer. Please welcome to WTAF, Gina Akers. Yay!
Hey!
Hi, thank you so much for having me on and inviting me and letting me be involved.
Well, it's a pleasure. Now, we met you, first of all, at the Series 3 preview night, didn't we?
That's right.
Yes. Because you were there, I think you were there, you were interviewing Daisy and Charlie beforehand.
No, I didn't.
Well, you didn't get to interview
I was
them?
reviewing. No, I didn't unfortunately get an interview because it was so busy on the night and there was so much going on. We were hoping to, but unfortunately it didn't happen on that occasion. I have interviewed Paul Cooper, aka Martin Mucklow, and I'm from Swindon, so I've pretty much, the accent is, instilled in me from birth. So, and it was an amazing night. Yeah, it was awesomeness. It was great to meet you guys. We met outside. It was quite cold, actually.
It was cold.
Very cold.
And cold, let us in. Bloody hell.
I know. But is that the first preview night that you'd been to for This Country?
Yeah, with various things going on, I hadn't been to any of the others. It's weird, really, because I'm obviously working in writing as a journalist. I review all sorts of different things all the time. I've got this weird influencer tag attached to me as well, which I'm not majorly fond of, but there's no kind of other word to explain it, I suppose. And other people seem to be fond of using that label. So let's, whatever, let's go with it. So I do all sorts of, I review things from food, which is always good. Loads of afternoon teas, and you can never get enough cake. Definitely had too much of that in lockdown, for sure. I actually spent most of my time in lockdown eating cake, actually.
Making cake too?
You can't have enough, can you?
Did you actually make your own cakes to eat?
Yes, I did. And that's the problem, isn't it? Because you make the cake, but then you've got to spend the time eating the cake because you can't not eat the cake. And obviously, depending on how many are in the home, I don't have any children. So cake is pretty safe in that respect in my home, but it's not safe for me. But it's actually quite time consuming. You make the cake, you eat the cake, then you think about what the next cake is going to be. Do it again.
It's funny you say that because I made an apple pie, a big apple. I bought a brand new bowl thing to put the apple pie in, thinking everybody's going to love this. And I made it. It looked gorgeous. And then I found out that nobody in the house liked apple pie. So I had to eat the whole apple pie myself.
Bonus.
It wasn't really because I love apple pie. And by the time I'd finished it, I never wanted to see another apple pie again.
OD on apple pie.
Yeah, I'm all right now. I'll gladly eat another apple pie now. But it was and it was really nice. And I was so worried that I thought, nobody else wants. Oh, I'm gonna have to just eat it now. Oh. And I got.
One sitting, Pam.
No. It wasn't in one sitting. No. God, about 3 or 4. It got to the point that I got so lazy that all I did was empty a can of custard into the bowl that the apple pie was already in. Didn't heat the custard up and just ate it out of the bowl that it was cooked in instead of portioning myself a bit out.
That's like those things that grannies love. My nan used to love them. Those custard slices. You basically had a deconstructed custard slice.
Yes.
You made that. You invented that. That's a lockdown achievement.
I don't think it's an achievement at all.
Founder, creator of the deconstructed custard slice.
Oh, dear
It's a
me.
new thing, you know?
Do you think?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Anyway, this is a This Country podcast. So when did the show actually get on your radar?
Quite early on, because it's obviously based not far from where I live. I'm a West Country girl, born just outside of Swindon in the countryside, so I related to all of the countryside elements and the rural elements. I grew up part of my childhood in the countryside in little villages just outside of Swindon. So I was born in Purton, raised in Braden and Lydiard Millicent. Went to a very country school, so I related to all those kind of, kids going to school in the country kind of things. You're having to walk through cowpat to get to school and all those kinds of things. And cross country for us at school literally was jumping through bogs of cowpats and being chased by cows. So I related to all of that stuff. And no buses, things like that. Lots of busybodies and curtain twitchers. So yeah, it came onto my radar really quite early on because of the countryside kind of element that I was familiar with growing up with. And then also, and again, my later teen years, I spent a lot of time on Wootton Bassett. Royal, I can still call it
Royal.
Bassett because, it was kind of from there. But Royal Wootton Bassett. And yeah, so I relate to all that, and with it being so nearby, and also it's because I'm a bit of a weird one. I kind of have one side of my family that very much brought me up with no accent whatsoever, to be very kind of PC English, kind of like the real sort of pure English voice. And then I had my mum's side of the family who was very Wiltshire indeed,
Right.
and so I was hearing those accents. That's a bit more Bristolian, that one. Accents that kind of sounded like me and a lot of my family, and you don't really hear that on TV. You do hear the Bristol accent, and you hear sometimes Cornish and Devon, but you don't normally hear the sort of West Country like that in terms of Wiltshire and Gloucester and
Cotswolds and all that area. Yeah.
Accent. Yeah, you don't really hear that, and hearing people say bugger right on TV. Things like that, which in London I used to get when I first moved to London years ago when I was working there. That was the one thing used to give me away. No one could tell where I was from until that came out. And then immediately go, oh, you've got to be from somewhere near Bristol, haven't you? And I'd be like, nope. But and also if anyone asks me my date of birth, that's the one that the year gives me away. For some reason, the way that comes out every time sounds very Wiltshire indeed. So yeah, but yeah, it got on my radar because of those things, really, and then obviously because it was just ridiculously funny, and it was my mum, which is why it's kind of real close to me as well, because my mum passed away just at the end of last year and was a massive fan, and it was my mum that really got me into it, because she absolutely adored Daisy Kerry, the character Kerry. She just thought was just the funniest thing ever, and Kerry's mum as well. So yeah.
So Gina, did any of the other characters resonate from you when you were growing up?
Oh, Big Mandy.
Yeah, you had a Big Mandy.
I tell you what, I'm going to get lynched for this. I'm going to get my house plumbed. But Bassett is full of big mans, like literally, but in the best way. They're amazing. They're just like amazing people. But it's more kind of like the phrases, the things that they come out with. But yeah. Or when I was spending a lot of time there was lots of amazing ladies that were like that, real strong, strong ladies, and just come out with the most cutting to the point fabulous things, and people that you kind of always know what you're getting, and you know where you stand with them, which I think is great. There's nothing worse than kind of not knowing where you are with someone,
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I've got to stay away from you. I get it.
Sort of person that you'd rather have as a friend than an enemy.
Oh, for sure. And do you know what? I had loads of. I don't spend a lot of time there, unfortunately. And you kind of, this was pre-Facebook dates. You kind of end up losing these people, sadly. But yeah, definitely, I had lots of friends. I got on with everybody there, and I had a wonderful time. There was this I don't know why we're getting onto this, but it kind of relates to the rural thing. There was this one little tiny, if you could call it, a nightclub, and it was called Venus. And literally there was nowhere else to go on a Friday or Saturday night when the pubs were shut, which pubs shut at normal times back then. We're talking like midnight-ish. Everyone just crammed into Venus. So literally, no matter what walk of life or what kind of tribe you belonged to in the village, it was a village back then, well, very small town back then, barely that. Everyone crammed in there. So, and you all had a good time and got on with everyone. There's usually, a little bit of a kerfuffle afterwards with the same old people that, always, but it's kind of like tradition. It wouldn't have been Friday or Saturday night in the village without that. So,
None of the big Mandys you knew then, Gina, didn't give you a homemade tattoo, did they?
No, but if I'd asked them to, I think they might have. Piercing was quite in then, so I think that would have been quite likely. They already had quite a lot of piercings at the time. But yeah, I think I definitely could have got a homemade tattoo of like the town hall or something like that, or someone getting plumbed.
Yeah,
very likely. Yeah, there's loads of things, and again, there was always a story of, there's normally someone who saw leprechauns running down Bassett High Street, like on a Friday or Saturday night. So that would have been quite an interesting tattoo, and I'm sure that could have been done. Yeah.
So if you had to have one of Big Mandy's tattoos from a book, which one would you have? I mean, I know it's you've got a good choice there, really, haven't you? But it depends on.
I'm trying to think where there was.
Well, you had the pig that looked like a wolf kind of thing. Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, that's the kind of one that I'm envisaging. And then obviously Kerry's one as well, which was really big. I didn't expect it to come out that big. I was like, whoa. Yeah, I probably would have something like a pig that looked like a dog, or like one of the kind of get her to do a celebrity one that doesn't look anything like the celebrity it's supposed to look like.
That's pretty much every one of Big Mandy's tattoos.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. The guy from MasterChef looked quite like you.
That's true. That is true.
I'd like to see did she have a cat one? I can't remember. I don't think she had a cat one, did she? But I'd like to see.
The pig sort of looks like a cat stroke wolf stroke any other animal apart from a pig.
But I mean, that's the big thing now, isn't it? Though you look at it when people are moving into a house and they're looking for a house, they want flexible accommodation. You want a living room that doubles up as a playroom and a kitchen that's also your dining room, but could be a family room. But and all this shit that estate agents tell you, and again, I don't know, you probably don't know this, guys, but women, when you've got a handbag, you want a handbag that's got a compartment for this, but doubles up as a that, and a purse, and all this stuff. Your phone, it does everything, it's your TV, it's your la la la. So why not tattoos?
A flexible tattoo.
Flexible tattoos, It's it could be this, it could be that, it could be,
It could be like those pictures that when you look at from a different angle, it's a different thing.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. So one angle it looks like a pig, another one it looks like a wolf, another one, I mean.
Oh, when you're looking at the clouds and you see different
things.
Yeah. And someone goes, nah, that's a dragon. Nah, it's definitely not.
Or a magic eye tattoo where you have to just look and stare and walk backwards slowly to see it.
Or those pictures in the 90s. Oh shit, I hope I'm not the only person that's seen this. We kind of had to look at it and kind of let yourself kind of go into a bit of a daze and let your eyes go a bit sleepy, and then it kind of jump out at you. Imagine a tattoo
that would never work with me. I've never been able to get that to work.
Have you not?
No, I don't know what I don't know what the secret is.
Viral things where you look at it and everyone's going, no, it's a red dress, no, it's a blue dress.
We've had conversations about that for a long time. Yeah, and what was that one, that recording, whether it said Laurel, whether it said Yanni or something? Remember that one?
Yeah, I vaguely remember.
Certain people could hear it saying Laurel, and certain people could hear, because of the pitch of it, that it said a completely different word. Really, really strange.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit of a weirdo because I can normally get both things pretty quickly.
Oh,
those
right.
things. So I kind of like, and it kind of depends when, like, or I'll get something completely different, and I'll be like, I don't know what any of you are talking about. Doesn't say Yanni, doesn't say Laurel. It says Nigel. You know, that's kind of usually what happens with me. Is I will see or hear something completely, like songs, for example. I'll hear a song. People say, "Heard that new song? I haven't heard anything like it." I'll be like, "Yeah, I have. Sounds like Wonderwall." You know, like
right, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm terrible for that. Like all these people that say, "Oh yeah, listen to this song, so fresh, so new," and I'll be like, "Nope." I can hear such and such in that. That's got the same baseline as this. That's got the same baseline as that. I've heard those drums somewhere before.
Yeah. So Gina, let's ask you about Series 3. Did it give you the resolution that you wanted or craved for?
What resolution?
Yeah, because it's the final series that we believe.
Well, I've got to be honest, I didn't like the vicar left. I think they needed him, but then everywhere needs a vic like that, you know? So I get that, and I thought it was really sweet that Curtin got that it was kind of his calling, you know? He needed to share the vicar and share the vicar's, I don't know if he'd call it, you know, if Kurt call it love, but he needed to share the vicar's being. I would have liked, though I don't know how they could have done it, I would have liked to have seen Kerry's mum.
Right, okay.
I've seen Kerry's mum. I know we saw elements and we certainly were given visions.
Yeah.
You know, to leave up to your own imagination. Maybe that's better. Maybe that was the cool thing. But yeah, I just would have liked to, even if it's like a photo of Kerry's mum. Do you know what I mean? Like just something to put.
How do you picture her?
Voice. Sorry?
How do you picture her?
Probably like Kerry, but older. And I reckon she wouldn't wear a lot of makeup. She'd definitely have a scrunchie. No, there's nothing wrong with that. I wear scrunchies. They're good for your hair. What?
What's a scrunchie?
God, I haven't got one. It's like a hairband, like an 80s kind of hairband.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of material, and then normally like the ones that everyone's wearing now are kind of cool. They're kind of like, you know, the satiny ones and the kind of maybe tie-dye or just plain colour. But the 80s ones were like horrific, you know, like with sequins and
they weren't like a luminous, like the socks you used to wear.
Yeah. Day glow, like the cycling shorts and the socks. Yeah, for sure. I think she'd have one of them in like somewhere in her hair, and the only other thing I think she'd do is she'd just have this bright red lipstick or pink, and that's it. I don't think she'd probably bother much else with her hair and makeup. I think what would she wear? I think she would wear dresses.
Yeah.
She'd like a frock.
Right. Or a caftan, something like that.
Yeah, something comfortable but loose, you know, a loose dress or frock, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of floaty thing. And I can imagine her like looking like a pattern, you know, oh, that's nice. You know, like, oh, look at that, Karen, that nice. I could just like imagine that. Like a pattern. You know? I could totally imagine, yeah. She'd like that, or maybe like if she gets cold, one of those 80s sweaters over the tops that's got like a print of ice creams or something over it. Ice, you know,
apple ice.
Something like that. Something food related, yeah, or the Skittles logo.
Yeah, or a big wolf. I got this picture. She wear one of those wolf jackets, you know, or jumpers that you see people in.
Yeah, definitely. Though I think Kerry would nick that, to be quite honest, because obviously Kerry wolf tattoo kind of thing. You know, if you can't show off your tattoo, well then you show off your kind of your wolf jacket.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about Kerry. As you are a beauty expert, if you were on This Morning or one of those kind of shows, and it was a makeover, and Kerry comes up, she's got a big date. She's got the biggest date. What would you do to transform Kerry into being the tomboyish sort of look that she has? What would be the things that you would do to, I don't know, what's the word? Just to make her into Transformer, yeah.
Like a makeover.
Yeah, like an absolute makeover. What would you do?
Well, to be honest, obviously Kerry played by Daisy. Daisy's got this, she's got great skin, and she's actually got this really lovely natural colouring, like the fair skin, hair, like really, really beautiful. So, and I've seen, we've all seen how well Daisy scrubs up. She scrubs up well. She
absolutely.
So I definitely pop some eyelashes on her. Definitely do an eyebrow tint, and you can laminate your eyebrows now, which kind of fixes them in place as well, so they don't do wild stuff.
Wow.
So definitely do that. I wouldn't go too much on the makeup because I don't think Kerry would feel comfortable in that. I definitely wouldn't put a dress or skirt on her at all. I think she'd hate that, and it wouldn't feel like her at all. I know that feeling because I must admit, I like wearing dresses if it's the right kind of dress. My kind of dresses tend to make me look like an extra from Star Trek and stuff like that. I always end up in that kind of dress, or just some black kind of dress thing. But yeah, but I know how it feels. I very much, again, being in the countryside, I grew up in my jeans and trainers and wellies. Never had to wear, hated wearing skirts or dresses. Never had to wear them, really impractical. So I wouldn't put anything like that. I mean, there are these kind of you can get like sweatshirt dresses, which are really cool, and that's kind of still sportswear. So I think she'd like that. So I definitely, if she did want to go down the dress route, have a look at those. Oh gosh, this could be like a whole episode. But yeah, probably put in something that she still felt comfortable with, like some nice jeans, some really cool trainers, maybe with a bit bling on them if she fancied that, but keep it sporty, kind of keep it like that sort of sporty feel, because she likes the sportswear. So I still want her to feel like herself. I'd like to see her hair down. I think that would be interesting to see Kerry with her hair down, maybe a bit of curl.
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
I think that could be interesting.
Shirt, didn't she? When she did the door work, she rocked a good shirt.
Yes.
She did actually. Yeah. She looked very smart and definitely looked the part. Very professional. Yeah, definitely. But it's not very often we saw Kerry in lighter colours like that. I think it was a white shirt, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, it was like a. Yeah, it was like a almost like. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Kind of like a school shirt, a bit. Really,
yeah.
But it just shows like she can get away with wearing lighter colours as well, which is quite cool. If because normally we see her in sort of like a dark t-shirt, maybe red covers this Swindon Town colours, obviously. But it just shows that she's not everyone can do that. You're kind of set to one kind of colour palette, but I think she could wear a bit of everything. We'll get her Skittles t-shirt as well. Match with her mum.
Yeah. So talking about fashion, then, is that something you always wanted to do?
I was always interested in it. My being a child of the 80s, my mum was massively into music and fashion, and my first kind of image sort of icons that I noticed and related to were David Bowie and Adamant.
Right.
So kind of, and I mean, 80s fashion had a massive impact on music, and because my mum loved music so much and I loved music as well, and back then it was the age of the kind of dawning of the age of the music video, so how everything looked mattered more than ever. And there's always been that synergy. That's why I kind of find myself involved in both industries. I think there's always been that synergy between music and image and fashion. So that's where the two cross over for me, which is great, because it just does, it all goes together. Because would Bowie have been is interesting, his music would have still just been as good, I think, but would he have been as interesting if he didn't have all the image that went with it? No, it wouldn't have been as interesting to look at.
And he was one of the few artists that changed his image not necessarily along with the time, but sort of preempted the time, didn't he?
He changed his whole persona. You know,
Yeah,
he had almost
yeah.
different like aliases and reinvented himself. And if you look at it, all the really great artists in music, or a lot of them, but certainly the ones I consider like mega artists, you know, they do that. You know, Madonna, lover or hater. I know a lot of people sit on the fence with her, especially these days, but she's done that. Look how many times she's reinvented herself. Gaga does it. And Gaga's amazing, you know, because underneath, even if you do like Bowie, if you strip away all that image and all the artsy stuff and creative stuff, you have got a genuine musician underneath. You know, so yeah, it's interesting. It all synergizes. It all goes together. We could do that with Kerry.
Yeah.
I reckon Martin Mucklow knows how to play the guitar.
Well, he wrote Wonderwall, didn't he? So I mean, to be fair,
the back of the packet, wasn't it?
Exactly. But do you think the 80s was the main decade for that? Because
songs on back of packets, or
no, in regards to like the whole thing of fashion. I mean, because I mean, 80s I think is my era in regards to the fact that I don't think the music was any better in the 80s than any other decade. It just everything seemed to mold perfectly, whether it was videos, fashion, music. I think better than any other decade, and I don't know whether that's just because of the age that I am.
I think it probably feels like that because if you kind of look at music history, 80s is kind of like the sort of late 70s and 80s is when kind of more genres opened up and became mainstream. So you had hip hop coming through. If I got this right, Sugar Hill Gang will kill me if I get this wrong. Like very, very, very kind of very, very late 70s, early 80s, which kind of opened the doors. You know, they were the first main hip hop artists and brought hip-hop music into the mainstream, and then that kind of opened the doors to this whole new genre, and then you started getting these subgenres, and so you kind of, it probably feels like that because more genres became more acceptable. You know, you had more electro, you know, which came in. That's because of the developments in technology with instruments, you know. So the way sound was being and music was being made was changing rapidly and becoming what back then would have been like a real modern sound, and now today we just kind of relate it to the 80s sound. It's kind of retro now. So yeah, it's interesting, you know, and I think that decade was a real catalyst for all these genres becoming more mainstream, and everyone, you know, it was like an awakening and awareness of all these different genres and types of music that it was. So yeah,
I agree with that. I love the 80s.
I have a question for you, Gina. Wham or Duran Duran?
Duran Duran.
Oh, look at that. There wasn't even thought, man.
Like that.
Why do you think?
Yeah.
Look at that. I've got lockdown is giving me 80s hair. Look at that. I mean, Simon would like kind of like be like, whoa, not with any hairspray, you know? Yeah. Look at that flick. Yeah.
Well, as we're recording this, it was only a couple of days ago that it was the 35th anniversary of Live Aid.
Yeah, I know. I mean, where does the time go? I mean, I remember that so clearly, like from you know, when I was a little kid, and it's like everyone knew about it, everyone was aware of it, and everyone was following it and loved it. It sort of swept up the world, really, and how unusual, and that, you know, we're kind of swept up in a very, very different kind of notion right now as a, you know, worldwide as a whole planet, you know. So yeah, amazing. Yeah.
So how has lockdown affected you in regards to, you know, I mean, we talked an episode or so ago to Lucy Nichol about it, you know, the way it affects your mental health, and we were both saying that myself and Neil have had both the opposite ends of the spectrum in regards to one of us hasn't done any work for the last 4 months and one of us has been working all the time, and it differs the way that you get up in the morning. Has it been particularly hard for you at all?
Well, no. I bloody loved it.
Right.
It's like being retired. Yeah, basically, at first, I mean, there's all the anxiety around the actual virus itself, which is, you know, and there's still a lot of that because there's still so much we don't know, and also it is controlling where we had that freedom that we took for granted before is now controlling certain aspects and elements of our lives. Maybe not quite so much right now as it was, because obviously the lockdown's eased. But when it sort of first happened, at first I had all the anxieties about the virus itself, but day-to-day life at home wasn't too different, because I was my projects were from home anyway.
Right.
And at the moment I wasn't, I'm not working so much in studios presenting. I've kind of not taken a break, but I'm focusing on some other bits and pieces at the moment that I'm involved with. And I was very much getting prepared and preparing. I work with a lot of music artists, so preparing them for like the festival season. We were expecting like an incredible festival season. It was kind of going to be my most exciting festival season yet. So from a point of view of like kind of being at home, I've spent many years traveling for work, like all over the place, and having to go to London every 5 minutes. And in more recent times, I have tried to cut back on that. And just do the same, but to festivals. Every summer is like all over the place to festivals, but just travel a bit less, certainly in the winter. So it kind of, where we were just kind of coming out of winter into spring when it all happened, it kind of didn't change too much day to day for me, apart from the heartbreaking fact that all these festivals were cancelling, and all the bookings were cancelling, all the events were cancelling. So my work has diminished, in events and festivals and music has diminished to pretty much zero. Because and I would say to anyone is, if you want live music, if you like music and you like live music and you want it to survive, support your venues in any way you can. Watch that live stream, watch that video show, whatever it may be. Send them a donation if you can, just or just share it, just show your support. And again, the same with the festivals. If you've ever been to a festival and you liked it, the festivals industry is again really struggling. So that's breaking my heart right now. So kind of where there was this kind of like, things be okay, well, fine, okay, I'm going to go and spend all my time in the garden and eating cake. I'm loving it. So there was that quite a few weeks, and now more in the last sort of couple of weeks, really, it's kind of really dawning on me that when is the industry that I love so much, and all these musicians who can't make any money, and these are professional musicians that would normally gig and make a decent enough income to cover their living costs, and it was their life. Their lives have been turned upside down, and their incomes have been just gone overnight pretty much. And they have no idea when it's coming back either. It's not like shops that are opening again, restaurants that are kind of doing and again, on my beauty side, my salons, or my wonderful beauty and home beauty industry people, again, have just been through the mill, and it genuinely is heartbreaking, because most of those people started off self-employed and have built up those businesses in both the music industry and the festivals. They've started from little tiny festivals that were maybe 100 people, to building festivals that are 10,000 people or even bigger. And all the teams and the work and the love that goes into both of those industries, that's the worst thing about it all. Yeah.
So what is it you actually do at the festivals then, or are you just a punter?
Well, by the time the festivals come around, I just get to enjoy them because I've done all my work. I get bands booked for festivals, or I try to. I get them booked to play on the stages. So, for example, I had bands that I'd got booked for Glastonbury this year, Boomtown Victorious, Wilderness. So yeah, that's kind of what I do for them. I help them with a bit of PR and development, and help them support their careers, but help them get paid, gigs, basically.
Yeah,
which is great.
Well, we hope that it all comes back. It's going to take time, which is the only problem, isn't it? And with different directives, who knows? But it's something. Anything to do with the arts, I think, is one thing that certain people think isn't worth anything, but they so are. It's the thing that keeps people going. It's stuff that gives people hope, and it's such a shame that all these people are, like you say, it's not like it's a hobby for them. It's their job, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and look at the facts and figures. If you look at the facts and figures, sorry, I haven't got them right in front of me, but they are astonishing for both. Just look at the creative industries. Now, let's take music and beauty because that's the ones that I know best. But if you just look at those two creative industries alone, what they bring into the economy and the jobs, it's huge. We can't afford to lose that. Two reasons: A, our culture are built into both of those things, actually, very much so. And B, this is people's jobs, but this is money coming into our country and our regions, that we live in, and we're renowned worldwide for festivals, and we're renowned worldwide for our standards in the beauty industry. These are two really prolific industries that we should be, really proud of, because we lead in those as a country. We're amazing at that stuff. So let's not let it slide. Let's not lose that, as well as lots of other things that are sadly getting lost.
Here, completely
Absolutely.
agree.
Bloody coronavirus.
I need to, bloody coronavirus. Gina, so I need to ask you about this morning. How did you get involved with this morning?
Oh gosh, that was a long time ago, my first appearance on This Morning. It was quite funny, actually. I thought it was someone having a laugh. So basically, I'd been writing for beauty magazines, particularly the trade magazines, for a little while, contributing articles and things. I've been doing stuff on local radio around the Shire, and talking about beauty and answering sort of listeners' beauty questions and things like that. And one day, I think it must have been on the back of them seeing me writing for these, various different trade magazines and professional magazines, I had this email from a guy called Joe, and it was from Granada Studios. Back then it was Granada. And it was saying, oh, would you come in and demonstrate? And at the time I was really into tooth crystals and henna and all the very visual beauty and body art and things like, like spray on tattoos. I could have done one of a wolf looking at our arsehole, stuff like that. So I had this email from Jazz saying, would you come into the studio and basically do all these things on a model for us, so then one of our presenters can talk about it on air. And I thought, this is one of my mates taking the piss, having a bloody laugh, because doing the radio thing, and they're just winding me up. Yes, bloody wind up. And so I didn't answer it for like a couple of days, and then it kind of was playing on my mind. And obviously I was going, right, who's done it? Who's sent this email? And I looked at it again. I thought, well, it's got a Granada email extension. Do you know what I mean? I thought, it had all this legal gumph at the bottom of it and everything. And I thought, and there was a phone number, and I thought, and it was London. Oh, was it 0181, whatever it was back then, or whatever the area was. I thought, do you know what? I better just give the number a ring just in case. So I rang it. Lovely old Joel answers the phone. London accent, all right. All right, Joe from This Morning here. That's more Australian. I said to him, I've had this email from you, and I spoke to him, and it was all for real. And I found myself going, okay, I'll do that. Come off the phone, I was like, oh shit. What have I got myself into? But no, that's fine. It's behind the scenes. That's fine. Next day, Joel phones me up again. Gina, you said you're going to come in and do, all this stuff for us, do all these beauty things on our model. Would you actually go on air and talk it all through? For the viewers, will you kind of present it and talk it all through for us, what you've done? Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, sure, Joel, no problem. I can do that. Got a phone. Shit. 5 million viewers or whatever it was. 10 million was ridiculous back then, because we didn't have all the channels like we do now. We had some, but not as many. And live on air, I'd done live radio before. That was cool. because you've got presenter pretty much holding your hand, and they're all lovely, and you know, it's in the shower listening, they don't mind, you know, and live TV. But it was, I did it. It was fine. I really enjoyed it. I think because I was talking about something I was really passionate about, that makes all the difference.
Yeah.
So that was it really. And then I went back a few times and did things for them. I did a reality TV show called The Salon on Channel 4.
Right.
Which was a bit like Big Brother, but in a salon setting, and was really long days, but was insanely fun and incredible experience.
Who was on that with you?
So there was a team of salon personnel, of which I was the receptionist, and celebrities would come in and have their hair done. So you'd have some people from, like, that were viewers who had incredible stories, which, no offense celebs, but quite often for me, the viewers were way more interesting.
Yeah.
And then you'd have certain celebrities. I'm not particularly starstruck by anyone that much, you know. For me, like, it'd have to have been someone for me to kind of like go all silly, which is why I guess I kind of got on well with it, because I didn't kind of lose my head over anything or anyone that walked through the door. You know, my favorite was the guy, I think it was Paul Fenton, who was the drummer for T-Rex for a while.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so that was one of my favorites, because he was, you know, all I did was ask him about David Bowie, which was a bit naughty, really. But he was great, and he had loads of stories. And the guy, what was his name? Bruno from Fame, the original Fame, the 80s Fame, the key player. He was lovely. Yeah. So, and that kind of, it was so from right from this morning and doing the writing and stuff, it kind of snowballed into a bit of a TV career, and then taking. So I worked for GWR-FM. Remember GWR?
Oh yeah, GWR.
I used to go to their events, and with a team of us, and we were Black Thunder girls. Now, you're probably not allowed to call, it has to be Black Thunder people, probably, or something like that now, but we were the Black Thunder girls. And we had GWR t-shirts with this snot green logo blazoned across the front of it. And we'd give out these sweets, snot green sweets as well, bright, luminous snot green sweets. And the kids loved them. We'd just give them out, and car stickers as well, so many car stickers. But we'd have to do a live on-air link from every event. Of course, no one wanted to do it, and they would play up. They'd cause so much jip. They'd argue about, who's got to do the link? I don't want to do the link, you know. And I don't want to do it. And in the end, I was like, right, sod it. I'm just going to do all of them. Really not that big a deal. All you got to do is go, there's an ice cream van here, and we're having a great day, and the sun's shining, and there's kids everywhere, and you'd love it. You know, there's a cow. You know, like, literally, you just had to say what you were doing and say what you see. You know, it was really easy, and the presenter would lead you loads of, just like you do, loads of amazing questions. Anyway. So I ended up doing all those. So that combined with that kind of on-air experience, ended up and then the kind of doing that, you know, This Morning as a kind of expert presenter, I suppose, and then doing the reality TV show. And weirdly enough, a chap called Andy from Bid Up TV. Do you remember Bid Up TV?
Yes.
God. Said, you'd be an amazing assistant, when I was, you know, we did this auction thing for charity on the reality show on the salon. And he said, you'd be amazing. Come in and see me when this is finished. So I did, and I did a little bit of presenting for them, and then did a bit of QVC, and ended up with kind of bit of a presenting career, which you know, on TV, which continues to this day. I'm choosy. I pick and choose what I do.
Do you like working on live TV then? Has anything really gone wrong for you?
Oh shit, everything goes wrong. No, it doesn't. It's all really quite planned out. It's a lot more relaxed these days. I think where you've had like YouTube and vlogs and stuff like that has come in, and that's a lot more relaxed in its presentation style. I think that's influenced into TV, and TV is a lot less formal now, which is really good, because you connect better with the viewer. You're more real, you're more approachable to the viewer, and that is what you're almost kind of trying to do as a TV presenter, is almost like jump out of the screen and as though you're talking face to face for real to that person that's watching. So always, you know, you always talk to the viewer, or nearly always. Yeah, what was the question again? Because I was talking to you.
Working on live TV, has anything ever gone wrong for you?
That.
There you go.
Yeah.
And cut.
I'm just trying to think. Sets quite often fall apart. Like get a big crash, a big bang. Cameramen trip over quite often. The old boom mic, it doesn't happen so much these days, but that's always funny when a boom mic gets all used to. I used to find it fun. I was a bit naughty. Like you'd have directors and producers who get really pissed off when something would happen. Who bloody didn't secure that book on the set? You'd have them in your ear, like, who didn't bloody secure that book on the set? It's fallen over and made a noise. Who that someone's, and you kind of have this sometimes, and you think, shit, someone's going to get but I would, and again, the boom mic and things, and I kind of find it funny because I just thought it makes it more real. The only thing you don't want is with shopping TV and this is why I'm picky and choosy, because there's good products and there's a lot of shit as well. And there's the channels are actually really good these days. They don't, I quite honestly say they don't sell crap like maybe years ago some channels used to. But I very much have a rule that if I wouldn't buy it or wouldn't have bought it for my mum or a close family member or friend or used it myself, then I'm not going to be the one on that channel selling it. So that's kind of, it has to meet my tests. But yeah, the worst thing is if you've got a product that goes wrong, that's not a very good product or doesn't work properly, and you're trying to sell to this product to these people, and that's their hard-earned money, and that's just wrong. So just don't sell shit. That's simple.
That should be on the bottom of QVC adverts. Don't sell shit.
Don't sell shit. Yeah, like literally.
You're a farmer or manure seller.
Indeed.
I said in brackets, unless you're a farmer or manure seller.
Yeah, and then that's good shit.
Yeah, that's good shit.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like you like challenges, Gina, which is one thing, which is good because we're going to now play Kerry or Curtain.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm going to give you a line of dialogue, and you need to tell me if it was Kerry or Curtain that said it.
Okay.
Are you ready? Here's number one.
Yeah.
One day, he just kept walking into the sea, and he just kept on walking. Was that Kerry or Curtain?
Oh, could be either of them.
It could be.
It's not a kind of. It is just a statement. It's not a Kerry or a Curtainism.
No.
I think Curtain.
It was Kerry. In the aftermath, when they were, she had the picture of Satan's fingers and going through each one, and that was pull my finger. That he just walked into the sea and just kept on walking. Okay, number two. I can feel him here. I'm getting this weird feeling, I swear to God.
I think that's Kerry.
That's Curtain.
No!
In the Mandy episode when he's searching for Rob Robinson, he's at Rob Robinson's old house.
I was thinking of something else. I was thinking of another episode.
Okay, number three.
Rob Robinson, yeah.
Here's number three. That Slugs, look how young he is.
Oh, I think this is when they're looking at the photos, isn't it? Is that when it is? Kerry.
That was Curtain.
No,
it was the Letter from Slugs episode, and it was the holiday photo.
Yeah.
When he's looking at the holiday photo and he says about Slugs, look how young he is. Okay, so that's 0-3 so far. Here's number four. Absolute waste of a day.
That is definitely Curtain.
That is Curtain. Yes, minor injuries episode as they're leaving the surgery. So that's 1 out of 4. That's good. See if you can redeem yourself with the last one. Number 5. You're like Tony from Hollyoaks. Everyone else has moved on.
That is definitely Curtain.
That is Curtain. GNVQ episode talking to Kerry about leaving. 2 out of 5. That's not bad. That was a rough start, but a good end there. 2 out of 5. That's not bad, Gina. Not bad at all.
Oh, I'm going to get it in the neck from Paul. He's going to be like, you're rubbish.
Oh dear. So we're coming to the end. I want to ask you about the future of this country, because obviously there's not going to be any more British episodes, but there is the American remake that is obviously planned. How do you feel about it? Because obviously the history shows that they've not got a very good batting average when it comes to making British episodes good in America. So what's your feeling on it?
Well, first of all, I'm really happy for Daisy and Charlie, because that's to have a show that is your show, basically, that kind of that then gets that international, and especially America as well. That's the big one.
Yeah.
To cross that bridge internationally is massive. That's the whole Blur Oasis argument, isn't it? As well, Blur was international and conquered America, and Oasis kind of didn't. So to get the Blur effect is great. So I'm happy for them. Will it be the same? Totally not the same. Is American humor the same as our humor? No, it's completely different. So how that will work and translate, I'm yet to see. I think the better way of kind of approaching it is probably to think of it as something inspired by this country or influenced by this country, as opposed to the American version of this country, because there isn't another version of this country. It belongs in the Cotswolds. It's all about the village, and the goings on in and around the Cotswolds and South Cerney and and Siren and all the all those places that we know and love. That is this country.
Yeah.
That is about, and you can't again. It's kind of this country. Like, what does the name mean? I probably need to ask them this if I get the chance. So maybe you can. But where does that name come from? Is it like this country is in this represents people that are within the certain pockets of the UK, or is it this country is in this to us is our whole country, or countries in countryside? Like it's and I don't think Americans can have that kind of feeling to even the name of the I'm sure they got countryside in America. Huh.
Yeah. They'll call it our country.
Somewhere. But it's not the same as ours, is it?
No. It's going to be interesting. It is going to be interesting. I mean, whether we'll get to see the pilot, I don't know. But like you said, just for Daisy and Charlie, I hope it goes to series, because then they can get paid, can't they? They'll get themselves some
maybe
money.
Kerry can one day learn to not be rubbish with their finances.
Exactly.
Well,
and Curtin can go to college and do his GMBQ.
Exactly.
Well, talking of all this, one quick question, Gina. Where do you think they would be if they brought them back for a 10-year anniversary special, like they did with Gavin and Stacey? Where do you think Kerry and Curtin would be?
Where would Kerry and Curtin be? I think Kerry, funnily enough, will have taken over a little bit of that kind of those gaps that the vicar will have left. So I think she'll be running the football. I think she'll have got to grips with old Marjorie chickens. It was Marjorie, wasn't it? Margie. Yes, I think she'll be handling the chickens a lot better. Maybe have a little chicken farm. I think she probably does online sales of Swindon Town memorabilia. Still lives at home, because who else is I'm going to shout Karen to? So yeah, and like she needs to still be burning pizzas and stuff like that. I think Curtin will have gone to Swindon College, got his GMVQ, and probably have like a supervisor's job at TK Maxx.
That would be his dream, wouldn't it?
Discount, so it's worth it. Even if you spend your lifetime there, it's worth it, because it's discount. But you can't even add up. You can't put a value on a lifetime discount at TK. I'm assuming they give their employees a discount. They better do, TK Maxx.
Oh my God, he would be living the best life if that was the case.
And I think once a year, at least, like maybe once, twice a year, the Vix visits to see what they're up to, gives them advice and guidance. Bollocking as well, definitely brings them into the office for a bollocking.
Yeah.
And tells them about how tadpoles are spawning in the village. Thriving. Bond in Bristol, where he is now. Yes, every year without fail.
I think we should get him to start writing that straight away, because I think that'd be perfect.
That is my absolute favourite bit of the whole thing, is when they think they're getting brought in for a bollocking and it's about tadpoles. I'm always saying, if someone did that to me, if I thought I was going to get a bollocking that ended up being about tadpoles, would make my year. Like, yeah.
That's just perfect. What a great way to finish. Gina, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Yes,
You're
thank you,
welcome.
Gina.
Thank you. Let's hope.
Like ridiculously, immensely, fabulously fun.
Oh, that's good then. Let's hope that the music business and all of the festivals get back as quickly as possible for everybody else, and theatres and cinemas and the whole arts, all that sort of gets back to normal. Gina, thank you once again for being a wonderful, wonderful guest. Neil, do you want to get on and do your little bits and pieces?
Absolutely, I will. So you can find us on all the social medias, where you can come over, click a like or a follow us on WTC Pod. You can email us if you wish to speak to us or have any questions about anything that we do under WTAF@hotmail.com. And also we have a website where it has everything you need on there, including tickets for our live show next year on May the 28th.
Yep.
I think May the 28th.
It is, well done.
Such a long time away, doesn't it? Such a long time away. And that will be under WTAFpodcast.com.
That's it. And you can come and support the podcast. Just go to patreon.com/WTAF, where you can become a Patreon bozo. And you can also buy us a coffee as well. Just go to ko-fi.com/WTAFTCpod and come and buy us a coffee to support the podcast again. Thank you, Neil.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gina, once again.
You're welcome.
Wonderful.
Pleasure. Great fun. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, everybody, and go and get plumbed, you fuckers.
Scarecrow Festival is like the most important day of the year. What? Daft cow?
This is just ridiculous. What the actual fuck?